this is welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Tonight, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but we get the job done. Cadiz is never an easy place to visit. Um, the funny bit is I can't point out any bad performances, man. So my heart is filled. I'll be honest. Like from a purely performance perspective, there wasn't anyone below 6 or 7. Like even though we had some very questionable finishing and decision making in the final third, we still absolutely bossed the game. And even then, unlike so many other La Liga teams, like who actually claim to be big, Cadiz actually gave the game a go. They were really proactive and progressive in their approach to the match, man. So yeah, like all in all, this is what La Liga should be about. Like I'm not saying this just because we got the 3 points. Like Cadiz has always been a team that, despite their very strong defensive fundamentals, like they still want to attack and be on the front foot. And yeah, man, like when allowed, actually play some very good football. So yeah, very very good watch. I'll definitely say even though the league was gone, games like tonight absolutely makes it worth a watch. But please welcome my esteemed co-host Doris, man. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a bit sick, so excuse my voice. But yeah, tonight, like you said, it wasn't pretty, but it was. I would still say it was a good performance. Like I wouldn't say that our team played badly by any means. In fact, Cadiz played very well for the entirety of the match. They were trying to score, and they weren't far from it. So yeah, I would say that our team performed well uh, tonight, and yeah, two really good goals from one unexpected player and one player that I kind of expected to get a goal tonight. And Cadiz usually they give us like really tough games, and they defend with all their might every time they play against us, and it like I feel like especially when they play against us, they turn into something, and yeah, a good performance, I would say. But we're gonna talk about the players
Also,
in a
before we
minute.
actually, before we actually get into things, let's pick up the chat. Dennis the Great, as always. First to the class, he says, Ala Madrid. I said 2-0. Yeah, like you get most of the things right, man. Like I think you should absolutely invest your money into betting. Although, I'm not a huge fan of betting, but honestly, like if you want to make your double your fortunes, you might as well take that up, before it's too late. He says, up the fucking Chelsea. I didn't watch the game, I was at work, but watching extended highlights of Chelsea, they were battered. I can't wait to go to Stamford Bridge on Tuesday. Yeah, man. They scored a goal. So, see, they're making baby steps. So I'll be still a little concerned because you can't take
I
them
think
lightly.
it was an own goal, wasn't it?
It was a deflection. Was it awarded an own goal?
I
Because,
think I didn't watch it. I think it was
ah,
an own goal.
right.
That's
Okay,
what I
okay.
heard.
So during the game, it was awarded to Gallagher because it was his shot that took a deflection of. Was it Dunk or was it Weltman? I'm not sure.
Like
But
as
yeah, it
it
was a
was
deflection.
happening, I saw someone say that it was an own goal.
Mm.
That's why I was saying it. But yeah, probably.
So Mudrik actually cuts in from the left wing, makes a very defense splitting run into the middle of the pitch, and then he squares the ball to Gallagher, who takes a first time shot. The shot deflects off one of their centre backs, and then yeah, goes into the net. So
Yeah.
yeah, in technicality, it's an own goal, but Gallagher took the initiative to shoot first time and whatnot. But Brighton, we gotta actually understand that Brighton are not your average Premier League side. They have been one of the best sides in the Premier League this season. So, like, even if Chelsea was flying, they would have still found Brighton to be a very intimidating opponent. And yeah, like they took advantage, man. Chelsea are not good, doing good. Like Dennis said, he also says, I'm more confident going to the second leg than I was in the first leg. I said 2-1 in the first leg, we beating them 3-1 on Tuesday. Yeah, absolutely. First leg, it's a feeling out process. Like, we really don't know how is it gonna be panning out. But now we kind of know what Chelsea's all about. But I'll still be worried about people like Mudryk. Like, he really, really wants to impress. I saw that on display earlier today. Ricardo is back. Nice to see you again, man. He says, I know it's just Cadiz, but this was a complete performance. Yeah, that's the key word. A very complete performance. Like, even people who had not so sparkling games, they were still pretty good, man. Like people like Fede, yeah, I know he provided an assist, but up until then, like, yes, he was doing a lot of running, but I never thought that this was one of his. I knew from his body language that one eye was clearly on Tuesday, which was understandable. But yeah, man, like, this was one of those rare performances where everybody was balling out. They were so resilient, and yet we still absolutely dominated them. One of our most complete games of the season. Yes, only if we could have started doing this a lot earlier, we could have had a real shot for the La Liga title. But it is what it is, at this stage of the season, with our focus completely on the Champions League. This is basically building up momentum, keeping our players fresh, and also kind of gathering a bit of steam, before we head into the crucial knockout stages, man. Right, right. I think that's pretty much it. Doris, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the first half, or do you want to start with the star performances? I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, well, there isn't much to say about the first half, I would say. In first half, not much happened, and a lot happened. Like,
Their captain, who was very good. I forgot his name. Was it Espino? Yeah,
yeah,
he was
Espino,
like,
Espino.
yeah, Espino. He
Yeah.
has been around for a while now. Kind of a veteran. Yeah, like, he was very good. Like, his shot hit off the post and whatnot. Like, was a constant threat down the left hand side. Lucas Vasquez had his problems. Benzema had a few chances. The one that came off the crossbar, it was in the first half, right?
I'm not sure. Possibly, yeah. But yeah, we had so many chances, and so did they. Like, it wasn't that we were dominating them the entirety of the game. Like, they had their moments, and that is enough for some teams. And I'm not talking about Cadiz right now, but still, I would say that it is a complete performance. It is, but allowing moments like that in the game, it can cost you. And we're the first team, that likes to use those chances, right? And
We literally feast on other people's mistakes, right?
exactly,
Like,
exactly,
that's our
yeah.
motto.
And I just felt like they had way too many chances for the way we played. Like, we were dominating them, but at the same time, there are some questions to be asked. But in the attack, we were good, even though we missed a lot of chances, a lot of them.
Especially Rodrigo. He was a constant threat, man. Like, he was taking people on, trying to cut it back always. Yeah, he was a thorn in their side for the entire time. I was very happy. Like, this actually is an age old question that we used to have. That, like, yes, the left wing is his favorite position. Rodrigo, by trade, is a left winger, but he's competing with one of the best left wingers in the world in this current setup. But then you see, when Rodrigo's unleashed down the left, he can still do a job. But we used to always think that Rodrigo was supposed to be the better finisher,
Yeah,
had the natural instincts, relied on his instincts to get into good positions, late off at the best moment, for his teammates and whatnot. But in particular, I wanna point out that moment. I think was I'm not sure if it was actually in the beginning of the second half or was it in the um, end of the first half, right? The Militao ball, like what a fantastic over the top long ball, man.
yeah,
Like the ones you see from your Sergio Ramos's and the likes. But it has like I've been noticing for a while that like Militao has added that diagonal or the long ball over the top behind the opponent's defensive line. It is part of his trade now. Like it is part of what he does, like every game. And I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised by the fact that Rodrigo had so much time. His first touch was perfect. He literally killed the ball dead.
yeah.
But then he just lost confidence. I don't know. He just decided to basically shoot straight at David Gill, who had a brilliant game. But yeah, man, like Doris, talk to me. Rodrigo being the first talking point of our post match tonight. Like, were you happy with his performance? Were you concerned by some bits of his performance? Like, are there positive signs we can take from tonight for like regarding Rodrigo?
Yeah, like I would say everything but the finishing was basically 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Absolutely. Mm.
everything else he did this game was a 10 out of 10. And it's a shame. He missed a lot of chances tonight. And the one from Militao, there was one that he almost got there. I think it would have been an assist from Benzema, I think. Anyway, like he squandered a lot of chances, so like we do have to be critical about that because we're Madrid. Like we don't take chances. Like this could have been some other team, and like
Yeah.
whatever
We,
was
we are not
happening
we
to
are not XG United. Like I get your point.
yeah, and whatever was happening to Rodrigo tonight could have been some other day that we play against some big team,
Yeah.
like for every
But
player.
I've noticed one thing with Rodrigo Doris is the fact that the higher the stakes, the better the occasion. Rodrigo
Yeah,
seems to find a way, more often
definitely,
than
yeah,
not.
definitely. But it's still something to keep in mind. But still, everything else he did this game was really really good, and it was just really, how would you say it? It was a shame that he didn't get to assist Karim, and by the end of the game, we can go to Karim now. Like by the end of the game, you could really see that Karim was frustrated, with the both missing his own chances and not getting the service. Like as the game was going on, there was less and less of it, at least from his body movement, and the runs he was making. By the end of it, he seemed to be pretty tired because there was a lot of sprinting that he did basically for nothing, and a lot of players taking long shots after
But I,
a
I, I
counter attack.
personally thought that Benzema, yes, he was good, but yes, nobody found him, like you said. But I didn't think he was in peak fitness tonight. Like I didn't
Yeah,
think he looked as sharp
yeah.
as he did against Chelsea.
Yeah, both things are true. Like Karim, like from the beginning of the game, he didn't, do particularly well, and that's only because he had real chances that he missed. It's not like the rest of his movement on the pitch, I guess. But by the end of the game, after so much running, yeah, he was gone, and we need him
He should have
to
he
be
should
there.
have gotten at least a goal because he had the chances. I remember the chance in the first half, where he basically was facing the goal. Like I think was it Fally who had a brilliant game. He was one of the best players on the pitch. Like their centre back. I think he tugged his hand or something, so he couldn't get his shot off properly. Like if it was any other centre forward, he goes to the floor and it's a pen. It's a clear pen. There's no two ways about it. Like it is a penalty. So sometimes I just wonder, like, why does Benzema um, like I'm like actually looking for the right word to actually um, stress my notion about it, because if it is another player, like he would be much more street smart and buy the penalty. But sometimes Benzema is too honest. I don't know, for my liking. Like sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes like tonight, like I feel like any other striker would easily buy a pen. But yeah, man, like then that chance that he hit the crossbar, like which he should have finished. Like yes, he decided to do the right thing by actually shooting it above the players, like diving into him. But he could have just gone for the near post instead. Like who had just, I think, one man on the line. But yeah, like Benzema was a little bit unfortunate to not have a goal involvement, but in all sense, like it was one of his better games, and you can clearly see that like he has come a long way from his early niggling injury issues, to start the season. So yeah, man, like I'm happy. I'm happy that like yes, he was exacerbated by the end, like you mentioned, like so many of his runs and brilliant link up play didn't end up in anything. Right. Before we get to the next one, who was Asensio, starting up front, let's get into some of the comments. Ashik is back. Nice to see you again, man. He says La Liga race is heating up. Gap at the top is reduced. I think that is sarcasm. If not, check yourself into a mental asylum, Ashik. It's high time. But in all seriousness, yeah, this is a nothing game. La Liga is a nothing competition for us. Hassan is in the chat. He says that Hazard cameo. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it anymore. The Hazard thing. Like I've lost any sort of emotion regarding him. Honestly, you could see that he's still trying, but he is still way miles off peak fitness. Ashik says we had to play a cautious game with some caution, with some gas in the tank as well. Remember Tuesday we have the Lampard's mighty Chelsea, who are on a bit of a streak. Yeah, yeah.
It
Right.
is. I'm sorry, but it is Lampard, Chelsea. But when you look at those players individually, like those are still like some class players. Like let's not just act like something and nothing can happen. Like anything can happen. We do believe that we're going through, and it's like the chances for Chelsea to go through are very small. But still, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's be respectful at least.
Fair point. Doris, did you turn off the subscribers only chat?
Yes, I did.
You should turn it back on, because we are on the road to 1K. Because I don't want free straddlers, in the chat. Like if people are actually want to engage in the conversation, I would stress it is a must at this point to actually get sub. Like it is high time. It is high time we get to 1K before the end of the season. So yeah, man, please do it. Hassan is in the chat again. He said, I don't get why Benzema played the full 90. 1 second. I don't get why Benzema played the full 90. Right. I don't know why the YouTube chat is kind of bouncing. Full 90, but no other complaints, to be honest. Benzema played the full 90 because it is of prime importance that he is in sort of a good nick. Like if he is actually getting his momentum cut short by 60-minute, 50-minute appearances, like it is not gonna bode well. Yes, I know that I have stressed the importance of actually wrapping him up in cotton wool and like storing him away in a sleep pad somewhere. to increase our likelihood of retaining the Champions League. I get it, but he also needs to feel the continuity. Like he needs to get back that streak, that momentum that he had last year. It's gonna go a long way. I think Carlo wants to uh, reinstill that. I think that is the main objective. I think behind why he plays the full 90. Right, Dennis the Great says that Nacho goal. Oh my days, that was a worldie. I was shocked. I didn't think that was going in. That's the stuff with Nacho finishes, right? Like more often than not, like you wonder, like how did that go in? Because it's so clean, like it's so clean, it's so pristine the way he actually manages to take a shot, attempt a shot. Like we forget the amount of shots that never, like hits the target or doesn't test the keeper. Like Nacho has some really good finishing in him, man. Like it's not the first time that we have seen it. But yeah, like let's quickly get into our third attacker, Doris Asensio. Man, this guy, Asensio against Cadiz tonight, a goal, 6 shots, 1 out of 1 key dribbles, 7 key passes, 2 big chances created. Like, do you think he's making a stake for that right wing spot on Tuesday night?
Yes, the short answer is yes, and I don't like. It's difficult to talk about that position because whatever player you put there, we're not satisfied. We want a real class right winger and all that. And a lot of people feel that Asensio is just not it. And even with Chelsea, do we feel in the future that Asensio will do the job right? I love him. I love Marco Asensio, and yeah, tonight he did incredible, and I think he just showed, that he has a spot in this team, and like we all know, throughout the months now, he wants minutes. He wants a real spot in the team, and right now it's difficult to guarantee him that, but it is an option that they might, see through. We don't know what they will do in the summer. We might not get anyone. I don't want to say that, but it is still an option. And Asensio will probably get a bigger role in the team next season if he decides to stay here, and I think he probably will, in my opinion. And right now he's making a statement that even if we don't sign him, there probably will be someone that will, and in my opinion, him as a Spanish player, and we don't have many, let's not kid ourselves, and a lot of them are old or get in there, and it's just we need to really think about him in a different way. And like I said earlier, this season it was embarrassing that we even had to put out a full 11 without any Spanish players. So I think he has a spot in this team.
I think the more that we see this Asensio, this version of Asensio, who is, I think honestly, like if we had the option, we should be giving out 3-month contracts or 6-month contracts to curious cases like Asensio. Like honestly, like I wish in a perfect world if there was a 6-month contract that we could give to these kind of players, like that would like light that fire, in their bellies. Because Asensio before this wasn't this bothered, like he wasn't really into proving a point, like you mentioned earlier. Now the way he presses, now the way he just his body language, everything about Asensio leading up to this contract renewal is mad. Like it is almost like he has rolled back the years to, like when Asensio actually broke onto the scene. That ACL injury is behind him. He looks much more sharper. does better things on the ball, like has better decision making. It is a whole combination, man. Like, see, this is a stat that I would again like stress uh, to the people, to the fans who actually doesn't care about Asensio, who are still not actually, like swayed by his recent turn of form. Real Madrid should have won 24 of their last 27 games based on XG, but have actually only won 18, of those said games. So finishing has been a huge problem. People sometimes forget that getting goals, or actually putting the ball in the back of the net is the worst, is the most difficult aspect in the game. Like people think finishing and actually nicking goals are the easy bit, but I'll tell you, people who have played the game, people who analyze the game will tell you it is otherwise. Like getting goals is the most difficult aspect, and Asensio has a very natural um, nick or a natural eye for the goal. Like it goes without saying that like whenever he comes on, he tries to just be direct and try and grab a goal. How many of our players can actually say that? Like not many, I'll tell you, not many. um we don't have the elite goal scorers we used to have like 3-4 years ago. So a guy like Asensio can do bits, man,
Yep.
especially in this setup. So yeah, Asensio had a very good game. Like even the goal, like it's so telegraphed. Like we have seen that so many times throughout the season, how he actually like manages to do the right thing in the right spot. Like Asensio has gone up in my estimation a lot this season, and I'm really happy for him. Really, really happy. Let's quickly move on to the midfield, man. Who should we start with? I think we should start with Chouameni, because he has been come under extreme scrutiny these past few weeks, especially post the World Cup. His injury issues, like he hasn't been able to nail down a starter's berth yet, and I don't think he's getting it even on Tuesday, despite this phenomenal performance. Um, Right, I have his stats here: 92% pass accuracy, 10 duels won, 8 ball retrievals, 4 clearances, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 chances created, and an assist. And for the other goal that was scored, he had the pre-assist. So Chouameni was pretty good. But there is something that bothers me with Chouameni. He shoots when he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how he gets the tendency. Like, is it because Casemiro used to bury long shots before? I don't know. Maybe it is expectation. Maybe it is him being desperate to prove a point. I don't know, Doris. But yeah, man, like sum up Chouameni tonight.
I mean, the best part about it, like those weren't even bad chances. They were bad shots, but they weren't
Mm.
bad chances. I cannot pinpoint them right now. I cannot remember them. Um but I remember that Germany had good chances, but those shots were sky high, and that was only on him. And you could say if it was someone else, maybe it would have been a
Mm.
goal. But yeah, Chouameni, all in all, he had a really good game for what he's supposed to do. Should he take more shots? Probably not. Let's be honest. And it should probably be something that he works on, because it could be a real asset, having him being really good, you know, uh, really good in attack, let's just say. And as we see, Chouameni is not an attacker by any means, and a lot of the times we see him that he wants to, give a good pass, a through ball, or something, and it just doesn't really reach the player. But all in its time, like he is young, but he should, probably get on it, and it is his first year here, so let's not forget that. But from next year, like I would expect more from him in the attack, and in the defense, like solid. He was solid, and I remember him stopping at least two counter attacks with the kind of interceptions that Camavinga usually does, which was something to applaud, and yeah, for Chouameni on Tuesday, probably he won't start, even though I would want him to start and to have Cruz come on later, just to,
Really? You would drop Cruz?
you know,
That's a good shout. I
look,
mean, that's a mad shout.
look, look. People are having their opinions right now from the beginning of this season. I would like to go to all of the things that people said about Cruz. Like right now, he is in good form, but are we gonna need a defender against Chelsea? Someone who's really, really good at defending? I would say yeah, more than we need Cruz to control it.
You
Because
you 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 had earlier mentioned that Chelsea are terrible, so you just don't want to take your chances. Is that the case?
it's unnecessary, I would say. Like,
Mm.
if we're gonna have Valverde and probably Modric on the pitch, I would say that we don't need to have Kroos there the entire time. So I would rather start
Kroos has been very good defensively
he
recently,
has.
Doris.
Even
Yeah.
last game, he was incredible, I would say. You know,
Right. So you are so impressed that Chouameni has so impressed by Chouameni that you feel like he has a strong case for Tuesday. Yeah.
you're saying it like that, but for the rest of the season, it was many playing most of the games, and I get that we might not trust him in the Champions League, but I think many should be on the pitch on Tuesday.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, like 15 all of you in the chat. Don't forget to smash the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1K. So yeah, any sort of help is appreciated, man. At this point, Dennis the Great and Ashik says Ashik was saying Asensio is ascending, and Dennis the Great follows him up. He says Asensio this month has more goals than Chelsea. Yeah, that's a mad stat. Chelsea were without a goal for like I think 4 games or something, 3 games or something. So yeah, like it's crazy. It is crazy. Ashik says I agree with Doris on starting Chouameni and resting Tony. Tony is not a DM. Plus, we'll need a rested Tony against City along with a confident Chouameni. Kroos is no DM.
Exactly.
See, yeah, like I've screamed this very sentence that Kroos is not an actual DM, but the way that he has carried himself, especially against Chelsea and even in the El Clasico, when things were the tide was actually against us, I feel that Kroos has actually progressed a lot defensively, man. Like
Wouldn't you
his
say
positioning.
out of all the games, like we are 2-0 up, wouldn't you say out of all the Champions League games, it would be right now to start Chouameni? We know what Kroos can
Yeah,
do,
I know.
and
Yeah.
resting him would, I think, be better than playing him on Tuesday or starting him on Tuesday. That's what I'm trying to say.
That is a step. That is a
We
step.
can
I
still
think.
put him in the game. I'm not saying not play him, at all.
I don't know. For me, it sends out the wrong message. It sends out the fact that maybe Real Madrid is actually kind of looking to be a little more defensive. I don't know. Like, yeah, what you said makes perfect sense. Like, I completely agree with you. But sometimes it just sends the wrong message. And maybe Chouameni's legs off the bench, that extra bit of physicality and power and pace off the bench would suit the game. You never know. You can't call this unless you are someone like Carlo who has
I
the
mean,
balls to
if
call it.
putting Chouameni on the pitch on Tuesday would cause us to lose the game, then definitely not. But anything else, us winning the game or something can only be good for Chouameni. Like,
Yeah,
Chou-
like
are you
it is
are
high
you
time. He
are
needs
you
confidence, you know.
expecting Chouameni to not play for the rest of the Champions League season or starting any game?
See, like things can change game week to game week. Like you can't really know whose performance levels are gonna dip. You know, like whose performance levels are stable. You don't know. Like even with KCM, even with Kroos and Modric, like we have seen that these guys, like they, yes, they can ball out, but sometimes maybe because of their energy levels, you know, like sometimes just because of better opposition, like and a much more organized midfield. I don't know. Sometimes they have off games. So right now, I think Cruz, Modric, and Valverde are in a very good moment. I would just keep rolling with it, you know, like unless and until something
I mean,
drastic
knowing
happens.
Ancelotti, that's probably what's gonna happen. And every time we do a preview, even this isn't a preview for Tuesday, but every time we do a preview, I say that I put a clown mask on, asking for other players to be started. But it's being realistic is probably gonna be Cruz, Modric, and Valverde.
Mm. Right, let's get into the next player beside Chouameni. I would say we should go for Danny Ceballos, who, in my opinion, had a blinder. You know, like he was really good. His when his job is actually not to be the guy making, uh, like those rugby tackles, he was still going in for them. So yeah, like he had a brilliant understanding on the left hand side with Rodrigo Benzema, you know, creating nice triangles outside the box, inside the box, had a chance to score, had a couple of cutbacks, you know, which was just a yard away from being, you know, like perfect. Ceballos was really, really good, man. Like, see, this is the thing with Ceballos. Like, this is again me basically trashing him, where you know, like on a night he shouldn't be trashed, you know. But sometimes when I see him ball out like this, like I've got to raise this question again: is this the level of opposition Danny Ceballos is suited against, Doris?
Oh, that's a weird way to put it.
That's a low blow, yeah. I know,
Yeah.
but this is the thing. Like that's what I honestly believe. Ceballos is a very good player, but sometimes he just balls out against opposition that is a level below Danny Ceballos, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe you should take this if you're gonna say that. You cannot just say that. And Doris, what do you say about it? No,
No, because
explain
see,
yourself.
I'm just wondering, like, do you feel the same sentiment, or do you feel that makes a bit sense to you? Like, that is my question. Does it make
Well,
sense or it doesn't? Like, it can
okay.
either make sense or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes or no? It's very simple.
Well, it's not simple because we're
It
talking.
is. It should be simple.
No.
We have been watching Ceballos for the last what five years.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as I said with Asensio. Uh, I hate bringing this up again, but Spanish players.
I
That's
mean, that shouldn't be the only criteria
it
by
shouldn't.
what you
It
judge someone.
definitely
We should
shouldn't.
go and get
But no, no.
Gabriel Vega
But
for 40 million. He's a Spanish player.
I
He
agree
looks
with you.
promising.
I agree with you.
He's
I'm
22
not
years old.
saying I'm not saying anything with that, but
Mm.
that is a big element, Like also with Ceballos, is it's difficult to say because every player wants minutes, every player wants to start, every player wants to be someone, and any player right now in our team, except Diaz and some, you know, any player other than them, if they accept a role that isn't, necessarily a starting 11 role, but be a club player, be something like Nacho, you know, be be something like Vasquez, and Vasquez is a different story. He probably won't be with us much longer, but for Ceballos, if he wants to stay and accept a role that the board gives him, I say keep him. But if he is, demanding things, there's nothing we can do there. But we shouldn't, just go sell him, give him there, just relax a bit and think about it.
I am relaxed, man. Like,
There are
see,
other players
I've
I
never
would look
wanted
at.
Dani Ceballos to leave the club. Like, I've never said that. I've never said that. It is only when people start these organized protests to actually incorporate him into the starting 11. That's when it gets to me, because he's clearly not starting 11 material, man. Like, when you
I agree
see
with you
Cruz,
there.
Modric,
I agree with you.
Chouameni,
Yeah.
Camavinga, all these guys play. Valverde, like, when I see all those guys, yes, Ceballos has much needed dribbling, but sometimes he's so cocky, man. I'll tell you, very cocky. Like, if you actually deep some of his take-ons tonight, especially tonight, away to Cadiz, away to Cadiz. Like, let's not get it twisted. It is Cadiz. Yes, they are 14th.
Yeah.
Yes, they are like punching above their weight this season. They have been good. I'll give them that. Um, but some of his take-ons, what he does baffles me. He knocks the ball into space, thinking that he's fucking Ronaldinho, and nobody's gonna intercept that ball. Like, it doesn't make sense to me sometimes. Like, when I watch him, he thinks he's something when he's
Yeah.
clearly not. He's just your above average Spanish midfielder.
I
I'll tell
agree
you
with
who
you.
was the real thing. Santi Cazorla. He was the real deal, bro. And
Look,
I'll tell you, Dani Ceballos, his best ever version, doesn't wipe Santi Cazorla's boots. Simple as. But yeah, I'm done with my rant.
I'm loving whatever is happening here, but yeah,
But I'm just being honest.
yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, two things can be true. And if he wants to stay in this team, if he accepts
He's a very good
a role,
backup. Very good backup.
very good backup. And we've seen moments from him. Even last season there were moments from him. Even in the Champions League there were moments from him. But we are looking for someone that will replace Tony, Casemiro, and Modric. Is
So it's not easy. It's not easy.
Is Ceballos it? I wouldn't say so, and that's the only reason why we're talking about him like this. Like, let's be real. He isn't a bad player. It's not about that. But if we're gonna replace those three players, it's a difficult task. And right now we're on a good path with Camavinga, with Chouameni, Valverde, and Ceballos. We're on a good path, but it's gonna take some time to, get Tony and Luca again, and Casemiro. It'll take a while.
I know he is actually pitted up against generational talents, but I'm just asking for a bit below than generational. Nobody wants generational. Nobody wants a Modric, man. Like, he just needs to just fit into the system, play his role, and actually be decent against big teams and stand out. Like, not just be decent, stand out a bit.
It's
Like,
interesting.
it's not easy.
Like, we don't know what's in their heads. That's the worst part about this as fans. We don't know what's in their heads, and I doubt that he thinks that he's on the level of Luca or Tony, or that he will ever be. Because
I
if
don't
it
know,
is, I
sometimes
don't know
when I
what to
see
tell him. Like, but who knows? Maybe he will be, and will regret it.
like, he's
We
still
don't know
young.
that.
In some sense, like, like, people like to compare Modric at 29 to Dani Ceballos, and I used to watch Modric a lot when he used to be at Spurs. a guy who was 24, 25. He was different gravy. Luka Modric, even at Spurs, like I used to watch him and think this guy doesn't deserve a team like Spurs. I'm not being harsh on Ceballos, but Luka Modric was levels above. But that's another thing. Tonight he was good. I was really happy with his performance. Had so many bright moments. Like sometimes he was the sole guy driving forward. A lot. So, like when Chouameni and Fede had to kind of sweep up a bit. Ceballos was the guy who was taking the game to Cadiz. But let's get to the other guy who I don't think will ever get a rest until June. Fede Valverde, man, man with I don't know. People call him the guy with three lungs, but I think at this point it's 30 lungs or more.
Yeah, it's feather. Like it was a typical game from him. In the beginning of the season, from this kind of game, we would just expect him to score, just an extra. But it was a feather game. You know, he did what he does best. He ran a lot tonight. He is the engine of this team, and yeah,
Got an assist as well.
got an assist as well. So yeah, basically a really good game for him. And as a midfielder, he wasn't put that much of a strain on him,
Yeah.
on the wing there. So he got to play what he uh,
He
does
he he
best.
got to he got put under a lot of stress in the first half when Lucas Vasquez was right back. He had to do a lot of covering for Vasquez, who essentially plays as a right winger. Like sticking out wide, trying to pin their fullback in their own half and whatnot. But yeah, like after that, after Lucas Vasquez left, I could see Fede, like wiping his forehead off, like all that stress and sweat, and he actually, like got to express a bit more. Um, yeah, like you said, like this guy, he rarely, gets a game wrong, sets a foot wrong. Fede for me again. There's nothing much you can ask for him apart from maybe you can tell Don Carlo to give him a rest. Like he deserves it. Like he plays in every 3 days, and he's one of the most important guys in the team. Um, Another man I would like to see wrapped in cotton wool, bubble wrap, whatever you want to call it, and store him away until the next big game. Fede, we need him. Quickly, I think so. That's the midfield covered. Let's go to. So it's tricky. Nacho played left back and right back. Where should we start? Let's start with left back, where he actually started the game. Nacho scoring a great goal. Like we have been accustomed to his eye for a goal, his knack for finishing. But even then, this was satisfying, man. Like I literally screamed when he scored. It was such a aesthetically pleasing goal to actually watch as a spectator. It wasn't the cleanest of contact, like you could hit the ball much more cleaner, but it's some of these instances where I think Nacho could make a great backup center back, and he was a deputy, an understudy to Ramos, who was sometimes our emergency center forward. So it's not a surprise, right, Doris?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, having
Yeah, Doris is a bit under the weather.
I'm having a moment here. What were you saying?
It's
Sorry.
all good. It's all good. Take your time, Doris. No,
Yeah.
I was just wondering, since Nacho was understudy to Ramos, who was a great backup striker, remember the days when he used to bomb forward and be the emergency center forward. Um, it is not a surprise that he packs that finishing in him. Nacho was always a great finisher.
Yeah, he was, and he saved us a few times. Even last season, if we remember the
Sevilla.
game against Sevilla, he proved that he can score. We we don't really expect him to take a shot from there, I don't think anyone did, but he did, and yeah, it was a good shot. Yeah, it was a really good goal, and it got us a 1-0. And right after that, we got another goal and momentum. So yeah, he did a really really good job today.
Was also good defensively as well. Nacho, yeah, man, like this season, apart from that game that he had, I think in the Clasico, was it the 1-0 defeat? Yeah, like and the League Clasico. I think it was the League Clasico. Like until then, like he was very good, man. Nacho, he rarely gets a bad game, gets a bad remark. Like he is one of the best players that puts this great shot on, man. Like he's a Cantera, knows what needs to be done, knows what needs to be put on the line to actually see the game out. Man is so experienced at this point. You can't buy that experience. You can't get that on the market. You can't get that certainly in this market. Nacho, the intangibles he brings to this team is so undervalued. Like people would actually look at this later and think, oh my god, this guy was mad. Like I'll tell you, Arbeloa was half the player Nacho was, right? And when Arbeloa was in the side, I used to wonder, like, yeah, he's okay, yeah, he's decent. He's not exactly good at anything particular, but what is the hype surrounding him? Yeah, I know he's a Cantera. Um, like he's one of our own and whatnot. But it was until he left that I understood the void that Arbeloa left on the side. And I'll tell you, it'll be 10 times, 20 times, 100 times bigger when Nacho leaves. Um, yeah, man, this guy is incredible. But let's just quickly get into some of the comments. Ashik was saying earlier, you mean Ashik's adopted son? Fede, the boy is something special. Yeah, like it never goes without a day where Ashik doesn't remind he has adopted Fede Valverde. I hope you're old enough to do that, Ashik, but I think that's a conversation for another day. Dennis the Great says, Valverde was my man of the match. Yeah, I think he has a strong case for it because he was doing everything he could, like up and down. Got a well-deserved assist as well. For me, I think it was Asensio, or probably even though he couldn't get his shots off. My biasness, sways me in favor of Rodrigo. I don't know. For me, I don't have a clear man of the match because there were so many good performances. I think the team was the real MVP tonight. Ashik says, "Well, Nacho, Mr. Real Madrid, he bless white and purple of the club, and if he was asked to play goalie for the sake of the team, he'd even do that. Yeah, that's absolute facts, man. Nacho would die for this club. Like we should be absolutely singing this man's praises like every time he touches the pitch. Like I'm pretty sure the Bernabeu never forgets Nacho, man. Like it is an absolute honor to watch him play. Ashik also says, and Doris, get well soon. We need that passion for Madrid in the business end of the season. Yeah,
Yeah,
some well wishes for you in the chat, Doris.
thank you, Ashik. Thank you, Ashik.
Right. Let's get into the centre backs. Rudiger. I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, solid game. He in the later stages of the game he tried to be more offensive. Tried is the word here, but yeah, all in all, he had a really solid performance. But like I said before, there are some questions to be asked about the spaces they left for the long balls and the through balls and it, the uh, there was some question, and Cadiz shouldn't have had so many chances, and Rudiger is not the person to blame here, or the only person to
But you can
blame
clearly
here.
see the synergy. It's not the same like it's with Alaba, right? It's not the same.
It's not, yeah. Is it Rudiger, or is it Alaba being better, or there are some questions there, but it's difficult to say
It is
that.
Alaba, man. I'll tell you, Alaba.
Yeah,
Alaba's a
but
much
it's
better.
difficult to take it away from Rudiger when he's a Champions League winner, that just won the year
He was a
before
Champions
us,
League winner in a
and
back three, and people, again, I'm gonna
yeah,
raise my hands. There is egg on my face. People told me he is a good defender in a back three. He is not a good defender positionally. He is he's a headless chicken sometimes.
and when he
And
came
I
in, we
told
knew,
him,
yeah, when he came in, we knew that, like that, everyone was talking about it, like we knew that he wasn't the kind of player that is used to this system, let's say it, or formation, let's better to explain it, but yeah, he, him as a player, like there are still things that you know how to do as a defender. It's not even about positioning, it's just defending, like just straight up defending, like positioning comes with it, like it goes together, but for Rudiger, most of the times that the ball came in, it was on the right side or the left side for us, a lot of the times, and that was his side together with Camavinga later, and Nacho before that, and those spaces are in April are just way too big, in my opinion, and
that's the thing. That's the thing. He just lacks the. I don't know. He just lacks something. We can't really pinpoint out, but I don't know. Like his body positioning. I don't know. I don't really like to, like this. This is a constant thing that we do on almost every post match. I guess maybe because that's my agenda. I don't know, because I really wanted to like this guy. I used to love his trade in the Premier League. Like he was that animal. But yeah, man, when you see it in person, when you see him play for your own club, you kind of understands the gravity of the situation. You can't have a defender like Rodiger leading the line. It's not good enough. But tonight he was good. He was the guy making some very good stand-in tackles. Had some aggression about him, which which is expected with Rodrigo. Also was keen to remind the guy. I don't know who almost went in two-footed on Kamavinga. He reminded him, later that like see you outside, and whatnot. So he is a guy who is loved by his teammates, fights for his teammates, fights for the cause, leaves everything on the pitch. So sometimes I feel like even me, like myself, sometimes is a bit too harsh on Rodrigo. Hope he comes good, man. There is still time. It's his first 9 months into the job, so there is still time, I believe, where he can turn things around. Let's quickly look at some of the comments. Dennis the Great says, I want us to go on form. I was watching the Big Six yesterday. Big Six, Tobbs was guaranteeing that we are not winning the Champions League. I'm aware of City and potentially Napoli in the final. I'm not scared. Well, Tobbs, right? He is a great character. The fact that he can talk so much about people who actually win goes without saying. The man's box office potential. Like Toby lives and breathes by the drama, man. So like it is no surprise, like it is no surprise. Like I hope sometimes, like someday, hopefully next year or the year after, we get to play Spurs and bring on Toby, because he'll have some wild takes, and he never holds back. But yeah, man, big up tap in Tobes. Dennis a great also says we are Real Madrid. Yeah, man, like Napoli is a problem, but I saw them against Milan. Yes, they were missing Osimhen, but you saw what missing one player in that component in that whole ecosystem does to a great side like Napoli. They are a very tactically adept, very organized. Like Spalletti is a very good manager, and Napoli is a great side. Like I'm gonna give them their flowers, man. They're not easy to play against. It's a nightmare defending in transition. Kvaratskhelia has been a very good player this season. Like they have a wide array of talent, a lot of ways in which they can hurt an opposition. But when it comes to finals, we're gonna only meet them in the final, right? If we actually go through,
Yeah.
um, if we meet them in the final, I would bet my life on us beating them because, as we all know, we don't play finals, we win finals. That experience would surely see us through, unless something unimaginable happens. Ashik says, Sunaid, I watched Quinta del Butre generation play, so I'm almost old enough to adopt Fede. Yeah, I think we were blessed to watch them, man. It's a shame that they didn't win many Champions Leagues. They didn't win a single Champions League, because of the AC Milan sides. They were really unplayable, but yeah, like now I get the perspective, Ashik. You're at least like 10, 15 years older to us, so yeah, it makes sense. Just Moit is back after a long time. Nice to see you again, man. He says Asensio wants the contract renewed badly. Yeah, facts. I think he's desperate to stay. He knows that like so many people have actually chosen the easier way out, to go play somewhere else and have done nothing. So I think he has learned from prior departures. Right. Before we get into some of the comments again, Doris, his centre back partner, Militao. My God, again. Wait, I hope this continues until the end of the season. Again, a guy who is irreplaceable. Without Militao, I don't know what our defense would be like. I don't know what our goal difference would be like. I don't know where we would be in the Champions League. I don't know where we would be in the league.
Would you say
I don't think
Militao is the best centre back in the league?
it is him and Araujo. If it was an
Yeah,
Araujo, I wouldn't even
that's why
think.
I'm asking.
It is neck and neck. It is neck and neck. Like I'll tell you, Araujo and Militao are so similar in their attributes, are so similar in their approach to defending. They are just neck and neck,
And
man. You
both
can't
so
separate them.
young. We're gonna see them
Yeah.
for a long,
You
long
can't even
time. Yeah.
separate them stylistically and say one is better at some things, like compared to the other. They're so good equally. So
Yeah.
Militao should be the best centre back in La Liga, and I'll tell you, man, who is the other centre back who you can compare him with right now?
Right
In
now,
Serie A, Kim Min Jae has been good. Milan is a shambles, so I can't really. Who are Lazio's centre backs? I'm not sure. I remember at this point. Juve, nah, mate. Like I can't think. Like Premier League, Van Dijk is in the mud. Saliba, good defender, but he is still way young. Rafael Varane, he is good, but he's past his prime. Um, who else? Newcastle, no. City, Ruben Diaz, maybe. Yeah, he has a good shot. Ruben Diaz has a good shot of actually being one of the best. But I'll still tell you the combination of aggression, pace, reading of the game, all of that. I think there is no competitor for Militao at this point, man. He's the best. He's the best, bro. Like put it into perspective, Doris. Like we lost Ramos, and this guy was the successor to Ramos. Did you expect him to actually blend in seamlessly and be the main guy
no,
two,
and
3 years on?
yeah, especially because of his age, he's so young. And last season for Alaba, I said, like, who expected him to slot in so perfectly? Right
Yeah.
after Ramos and Varane left. Like, right after that. Like, that's a lot. And for Militao also to take the role, and be our main guy in the defense. It is Militao. There's no one else that comes close to him, and in the way he plays right now and his form, and yeah, it's just amazing that we get to have this player for a long, long time. And I'm not sure about his contract, when it expires.
I'm not sure either. I think there is at least 3 years
I
on
think
it.
it's in 27. I'm not sure about that, but
Mm.
yeah, hopefully he keeps playing like this. And the biggest task that's gonna happen is, Tony and Luca are gonna be leaving soon. The
Yeah.
midfield will change, and a lot of the defense is the midfield, and the way the rest of the team plays. 'Cause, you know, if they kick the ball out, is the ball gonna return to them immediately, or is your team gonna do something with it? Can you trust your own players? It's gonna be a tough task. We'll see in the couple few, in a few years, in a couple years, in a couple few years. Um, but yeah, for tonight, as always, Militao just top notch. Top notch.
There was one incident that I need to point out. Guardiola had was actually running at Militao. I think I don't remember who sprayed that brilliant diagonal for Cadiz, and he was in acres of space. If it was any other defender, Guardiola is going straight for the neck.
Yeah.
He's actually gonna attack him, go straight um, for his zone, and try to beat him, and that's it. If he actually even attempts to beat any other defender, that defender who doesn't have as much composure, doesn't have as much about them, they would crumple. They would either get beaten by the man or actually commit a foul and maybe get a red card or a pen even. But the very fact that he was up against Militao, he looked up and he saw Militao. He was like, you know what? I maybe should be doing something a little more conservative. Should be doing something a little bit less aggressive to actually stand a chance. So that goes to show what this man is about. Militao is scarily one of the best defenders, like in the world. Like he is a winger's nightmare. Like it's not easy to actually play Militao. Like honestly, it is such a blessing, and in the right time as well. We were in
Even this
gondors.
season, we're gonna see like next. No, like after Chelsea, he has to play Haaland, and we'll see like what's gonna happen there. Cause those are the kind of games where you prove that you're the best, And he's gonna play against the best in the world right now. Someone his own size. He can pick someone his own size, I guess, with Haaland. So this season, probably one of our best players, if not our best player, we could say. Like we overlooked the defense. It would probably be easy to say that it's Vinicius and something like that. But yeah, I think Militao deserves a shout as our best player right now. Like in our entire team, actually.
Defenders, like it's a thankless job, man. Unless it is something like a goal line clearance, or a last ditch tackle. Defenders are rarely, the main focal heroes. They're more often than not unsung heroes. But let's quickly get into some of the comments before we get to the last two players and the subs. Dennis the Great says it's funny he talks about clubs that wins, and his clubs has 3 trophies since 1990. Yeah, big up Topes. I think he's referring to Spurs, man. But yeah, like I don't know how Spurs ends up on an away night at Cadiz on a Real Madrid channel. But yeah, I guess that's what our friendship with the Big Six, does. It is really great. I started this channel watching them and getting inspired to actually do a podcast. So yeah, like I think it is just meant to be. Jasmine Pahua says in the chat, could say the same for AC Milan, missing their key players in Mike Maignan, best goalkeeper in the world right now. would you say he is the best goalkeeper in the world, or would you say Thibaut? I don't know. It is a tight call. Like I love Magic Mike, man. Like he's brilliant. Like he's not your average keeper, and I truly believe he was one of the main reasons that AC Milan won the Scudetto last year. Um, he has to prove at least for like a couple more years until I know Milan's defense is a shambles, and Mike Maignan is one of the key reasons. And when Tatarusanu played instead of Mike Maignan, it was a problem. I remember that, but still, he has a bit to go, bit to show to actually be compared to Thibaut, who is, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world. Ashik says Militao is the best centre back in the world. There can't be any argument about it. Yeah, I don't think there'll ever be, at least for this season. Just Moitz again says, I'd say Militao is more inconsistent, but his highs are better than Araujo. Yeah, I don't know, inconsistent. I don't know, but his highs are definitely better than Araujo because his team plays the Europa, got knocked out of the Europa. Although they have the best defensive record in La Liga. I don't think he's exactly that much better. Ashik also says, I think Haaland is a bio-engineered footballer. Yeah, he might be a robot, man. You never know because at this point it is not human what he's doing. That's why we all knew this, man. We all knew this. I was here on this very podcast. Doris was here for a bit as well. We were screaming, Haaland should have been number one priority, regardless of the fact that Benzema is still here and whatnot. But I guess maybe in a couple of years, maybe in a couple more years. Lucas Vasquez, Doris,
I don't
quickly, the
think.
GOAT.
Yeah, I don't
Go on.
think for that. I don't think there was much we could have done there. I think he was going to City
City,
anyway,
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's not much to talk about this, and the City fans are already laughing at us, for talking about getting him in 2024 5. I don't even know what it is, but I think something new got signed, and we cannot even do that from some. Yeah, that was some. Yeah, but when it
I'm not
happened,
sure, but yeah.
yeah, when it happened, I was the first person that was asking for Haaland here, uh, and most of us were, but yeah, hopefully in a few years we get him, and in the few years we're gonna have Hendrik. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he will be, the next best thing, But yeah.
Hendrik is a good player, man. Like, but I don't think he can be a striker. I just don't think he can be a striker. He can be a good winger, maybe. Can be a good cam, maybe. Can be a good second striker, but I don't
He's
see him being a
right
center forward.
footed, right?
Yeah, unless he is like he has an exponential growth rate in terms of physique
We're gonna
in
have
the next.
three copies of him, in the team. Like
Yeah, Rodrigo and Vinicius
unnecessary.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but if he is good enough, you never know.
I mean, he did score a scissor kick a few days ago, I think. So that's something, and it was in the final. So maybe I just,
He scored a scissor. He scored a bicycle. I didn't see
yeah,
that. Really?
maybe
For
I just
Palmeiras? That was
watched
from way back,
at
no?
the same time. But I know that he scored in the final a few days ago.
I don't pay much attention because I've read that he's basically crumbling under all this pressure. I just couldn't
wanna
watch
see
it,
that.
man, honestly. Yeah.
I want
Like, I couldn't honestly, personally watch his highlights because I know the kid is only 15, 16 and he's being asked to show, so much more. Then what he's being asked, the spotlight is too much, man. He's too young. Yeah, like I see Madrid Extra reporting Cruz and Modric is gonna stay here for next year and whatnot. I guess Marca got something out. But Doris, are you looking for the goal?
Yeah, I was looking for the goal. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I
so,
was gonna ask you about Vasquez, man.
Yeah.
The goat.
The goat. Vasquez, today's game wasn't the best. It is Cadiz, but that says even more, about it. His
He can't defend. Like
performance,
we
yeah.
we all knew that he can't defend.
And it's not his fault, but then we cannot even put him in the attack because he's not as good. So,
Yeah, he's not as good as anymore. Like I still remember there was that attempt to dribble, and he basically lets the ball be behind him. Um, yeah, wasn't a good showing
I mean,
for Vasquez.
we don't in the attack we don't really have enough to judge from because he doesn't really play that much. When he does, he likes to attack, but still, there's not many stats there, I would say. But yeah, for Vasquez, not an amazing performance. He could have done better, but he's one of those players. Like, he isn't that young. He looks young. He has a baby face, but he's actually not young, and his time is ticking. And if there's one player in the squad that you would say just wouldn't get better, it's probably him. Like, I don't see him getting better. I don't see him getting worse, particularly. But it's just not enough. And he knows that, the team knows that, everyone knows that, but it's Vasquez. He's been here. It feels like he's always been here, and it's he might even be here next season and the season after that. We don't know that. But tonight's game wasn't it, but still, I wouldn't say that
Yeah, I honestly don't
it's the end of
have
the
much to
world.
say about him. I love Vasquez, man. For me, still, like similar to Asensio, like I can't trash talk these guys, unfortunately. Like, yeah, like I know they're past it. They're not adding or contributing to the cause much anymore. But yeah, like if he's out by the end of the season, like I wouldn't be protesting it. Like I'll tell you that much. He had his injury struggles. I'll give
Yeah.
him that. This year especially, but I just really can't forget the amount of times he has helped us win La Liga titles and Champions Leagues. Man, this guy, he was special. He means the world to me. So I just hope he regains some sort of form and puts in one last big performance in a big game against a big opponent. Um, that's my only ask of Vasquez. Thibaut, Doris, should we really talk about Thibaut? He carried out his duties like usual.
Yeah.
Apart from that one shot, maybe he should have done a bit better. Where his punch was kind of out of shape. I feel like. Um, Apart from that, like he did what he had to. Actually,
Yeah,
didn't put a
he
foot wrong.
did more than he should have, you know, for this kind of game. But it was a typical Thibaut performance. I'm happy that he got a clean sheet. It's not typical for Thibaut to always get a clean sheet.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's good that he's pumping his stats at least, if anything, after this game.
I guess that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
Kamavinga, who came on, looked bright.
Look,
The fact that he comes on and we immediately score two goals, it is not a coincidence, is it, Doris? This man, he brings a
yeah.
lot to the team.
And even after we scored the two goals, he really felt that momentum, and he kept on trying, and he made a lot of runs on the left side of the box. He asked for the ball, and that's all you can ask from him. He had
Very
a
brave, yeah. Kamavinga
yeah.
never shies away from the ball. Like he always wants it, always looks for it. You know, um, and he wasn't this confident last year. Like he wasn't this guy. He has matured so much that like every time I see him, it's almost like I want to see more of him. You know, the only reason why I felt like maybe at Stamford Bridge, someone like Nacho should be left back is the fact that I still have my doubts because of his age and temperament. in an away stadium in a second leg, I would rather prefer the experience of Nacho. But honestly, like if Kamavinga plays left back, we have a much more we have so much more about us on the left flank if Kamavinga plays. So because he and Vinicius can complement each other and do the cooking, like
I agree,
so.
but it's
Yeah.
gonna be strange for Nacho to get substituted by Camavinga. It's gonna
Mm,
be a statement. You know,
mm,
so
mm,
it will be a big decision of Carlo for who he will play because
mm,
if Nacho doesn't play well, it could hurt his image right now. Right
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
and probably we wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't for the match against Villarreal, where he played, in my opinion, horribly, and probably one of the worst matches I've seen him play. It just wasn't his night. And it's just still in the back of my brain. But
I was thinking the El Clasico. My bad. It was Villarreal actually, Doris. Yeah. Thanks for
yeah,
correcting that. Yeah.
and it just wasn't his night that night, and
Mm,
it's just still there, but it's Nacho. Like, we should trust him. He even tonight he did incredible, and it's just because of that game that I feel like we're talking about it, even though Camavinga has been incredible in the left back position, and it's just awesome that we're even talking about these players when we have Mendy that's injured, and
yeah.
we have two players competing for his position. So even that is a positive, because he's gonna bring Mendy, and make him compete for his position. Even though I feel like that he will still be given it, but you know, at this point in time, there's two players wanting it, so it's a good thing. It's only a good thing.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good problem to have. Yeah, and whatever Carlo chooses, I'm sure will be the correct choice because both of those players, I think, would have a good game against them. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see for
And
sure.
also having Nacho, the one we call the pessimistic defender, it's a good player to have in a second leg.
Mm, yeah. 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 When we actually protecting the lead
Yeah.
against a hostile crowd, like we can't concede early. Like it is gonna be peak if we concede early. The momentum is gonna shift. Uh, the West Londoners are gonna go wild. Beers are gonna fly. Pork ham sandwiches are gonna fly. So it is gonna be mad on Tuesday. Ashik says the song to sing at Stamford Bridge is "Stamford Bridge is Falling Down." I think it's an age-old joke amongst the Premier League faithful. It has been coming down for a while, Ashik. I'll tell you that. Chelsea are in big trouble, big trouble, especially with the FFP. Like if you guys didn't know, Enzo's contract I think got renewed for another year. Like when he was given an 8-year contract just a few months ago. So it goes to show that these guys are literally doing everything they can to avoid a ban. So Chelsea has the winter is coming for Chelsea. I'll just tell you that much. They have
The winter is coming.
yeah they have rode the Russian oligarch bandwagon for so long that they forgot how much like they have gotten away with. So for Chelsea, it is peak. Um, yeah, big up all of you in the chat. Ashik, Dennis, just Mohit, Ricardo. Like you guys always show up and supports the show, man. Like, don't forget to smash the like, and also don't forget we have a big preview with Matisse's homie, Dammy, who was supposed to be our guest last week, but he couldn't make it. But he is coming on. Hopefully Monday. Like we still have to fix the time. But yeah, man, like turn on the notification bells on so that you guys know as soon as we schedule the thing. And Yeah, like big up to all our audio listeners on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the lot. Almost hitting 20,000 plays. It is a massive achievement for us because it was a very small project that we started from our homes. Like less than 2 years back. Like so it's a very surreal moment for us. Really humbled by all the love and support that you guys have been showing us all throughout. Big up Big Steve, big up Matisse, big up the Big Six family. These guys have extended their warmth every time that we have reached out to them. Daniel is in the chat. He says, "Big up, guys. Good game today." He says, "Nice to see you again, man. Thanks for always supporting us." Dennis the Great says, "Big up, Matisse all the time, and as always, Madrid says, Hala Madrid." Yeah, man. Final thing, go check out our partners on Instagram. Real Madrid Committee. They run a brilliant fan page, and as always, I guess Doris, Hala Madrid.
Nada Madrid.